Welcome to the Ward 4 show here on Channel 20. I have a couple of special guests today with me that are very involved in a project that's been very near and dear to my heart over the last year or so. Louise, why don't you introduce yourself? She's my Parks Commissioner. Introduce yourself and tell a little bit about yourself.
Okay, my name is Louise Elkins-Alexander, and I do represent Ward 4 on the Parks Commission. Southsider, have lived almost all my life. My husband taught Southside, so we love it, and I'm just very much involved in everything that goes on in Ward 4, wanting to make sure that we are on our game at all times. So I'm a mother of one child, and love Oklahoma City.
Right, Rick, Chair of the Game and Fish Commission.
I am Chair of Game and Fish Commission. I'm Rick Godfrey, and I'm representing Ward 2. I've been on the commission for a number of years and watched the exciting growth in Oklahoma City over the last 10 to 12 years. And Game and Fish is in the middle of that with trying to keep our close-to-home fishing waters and public waters very viable habitats for the public. So we're excited.
Good. Well, that brings us to what I really wanted to talk about today was the Kitchen Lake project. It's at Southeast 119th and Sooner. It's a lake that's been there, as I understand you, we were talking earlier, it's been there since at least the 40s.
Yes, sir.
And it's a dam, but it's a spring-fed lake. There's a dam there, but the lake is spring-fed from natural groundwater that flows right through that area.
Yes, sir.
We've kind of taken on a project to make that the Southeast Oklahoma City Park. In the 2007 bond issue, there was money to build a park in Southeast Oklahoma City, and so I've looked for a location and came across that almost by accident. It's owned by the city's Water Utilities Trust, and we decided to take a look at it, and it's been the decision of the Park Commission, and certainly heavily endorsed by Game and Fish, that it would make an ideal park location. And so, Louise, why don't you start and talk a little bit about it? I think we're going to have some graphics that people will be able to see a little bit about what we're talking about, but talk a little bit about what Parks has done.
Well, from a parks perspective, we're very excited. One of the things that I think perhaps our audience does not realize is that this is a 40-acre lake. And it's not just the lake. As a parks department, we're wanting to make sure that there are other enhancements that are there. There's a playground, I can take my family out there to picnic, and the lake is just the icing on the cake. Just the icing on the cake. And I think that if our audience would take advantage of just going out there to see what it's going to be, and I think being on the ground floor, watching it rise, I think it's going to be very, very exciting. So.
Right. Well, I've always been impressed by Edwards, the lake there in Edwards Park. You can see it from Interstate 35, and it's just such a pretty little urban park. And of course, 119th and Sooner is a little more of a rural area, but I think we can capture that same feeling of green and water and all that there. But Edwards was kind of my thought when I first saw it, that we could make a park very similar to that. Although this lake is substantially bigger than that lake that it's in Edwards.
Right.
Yes.
Talk a little bit about what Game and Fish has done and how you envision the lake portion of it being used.
With a 40-acre lake, there are a lot of opportunities. The lake's depths are approximately 15 feet deep at the deepest and run to about 1 foot in depth. It is a very clear lake. We have a lot of aquatic plants in it, lilies, cattails that filter a lot of the water as it comes in and keeps the turbidity or the cloudiness of the water down, so it's a very clear lake. And what we would like to do is go in. We've done the electrofishing testing through the fish hatchery in Oklahoma City, so we know about that. As we bring this lake into operation with us and bring it into a close-to-home fishing water, we will have the opportunity to have funds from Oklahoma State Wildlife Department, ODWC, through taxes that they raise through the Sports Fisheries Program, which is a national program, which will help us not only with the fish itself and the fishing, but with piers for fishing, and might be able to help with some parking, which gets pretty expensive. But my understanding is that the lake will be developed into, if it goes, the preliminary plans are 5 phases, and the first phase, we can be ready for it from a fisheries point of view within the next 6 to 12 months, and then next year perhaps have phase 1 started anyway. But that's more your line of work with the bond issues and all.
One of the things, since it's on land owned by the Water Trust has already done a substantial amount of work there already. They've resodded the dam, cleaned the dam area up, and Parks has done some work out there. There have been Parks crews out there cleaning up too. So I think if a person has the opportunity, it's on the east side of Sooner Road at 119th. And just to drive by and take a look at what it looks like, I think you'll be able to get a real quick idea about how nice it can be. It's a beautiful little body of water.
It's going to be exciting, and I would remind all of you that you do need a city fishing permit.
Right.
And if this goes the way that I think you all would like to see it go, would be that as it's developed, we come in and on the east side bring it in with some soccer fields, some baseball fields and things like that, but that's a number of years down the road. Right. But hopefully we can get that done and make it a complete park for all of our users and citizens to use, because it's a wonderful place.
Right. Well, that's kind of my vision about the way Edwards developed is that it's got all those other, but those other amenities were at Edwards before the lake came. In this particular park, we're starting with the lake and working on the other amenities later. So there's several $100,000 in the 2007 bond issue that'll be available to do part of that, to pave some streets, to build some parking lots. We hope to capitalize on the opportunities with wildlife funding and so forth to really get it kicked off. My primary early thrust is more the fishing activity at the beginning. I think we can do that very quickly and get that online, and then let the rest of the park kind of grow out as we can. Before we wind up the program, though, Louise, I want to change the subject a little bit and talk to you about something that this afternoon. Today is Wednesday, and the Park Commission will meet this afternoon.
Yes.
Today's the 16th of May when we're shooting this. So the Parks Commission meets this afternoon. One of the items on the Parks agenda is a recommendation or resolution by the Parks Commission urging the City Council to ban smoking in all city parks, or ban tobacco use in all city parks. Is that, am I stating it properly?
You are stating it properly.
Because the state has not granted us the authority to regulate the use of tobacco, we can only set it as our policy. We can't make it an ordinance. But do you feel like that the Parks Commission is going to approve that and forward it on to council?
I really do. There is a big push. You know, all of us are interested in the health and wellness of our citizens. And a lot of us who are getting to a point where we're challenged just a little bit with our health, we're wanting to enjoy the parks. And sometimes you can't because of all of the, tobacco use that's there. So we want to encourage our citizens to look out not just for themselves, but for others. And I think the Parks Commission is going to be on board with that.
Right. I hope so, because City Council has discussed a number of times, a number of ways to try to deal with it. We're going to urge the legislature to give us the authority to actually deal with it, but I think this is a great step in that direction. I hope you can. Hope you all are going to pass that today, and it'll be on the council agenda on the 29th of May, if that's so. So that's something I'm personally very involved in that myself, having been a reformed smoker. So and also one of the things as a councilman that I deal with a lot is we provide health insurance for our employees and our retirees, and we look at the impact that tobacco has on health insurance costs. We can't afford to keep raising the premium on non-smokers to take care of people that choose to damage their health away that I chose for years to do, and Rick has told me that he's a reformed smoker also. We've got to intervene earlier, I think, and stop that. Well, back to the lake project or the park project. I want to thank both of you for all your work in that regard. This is kind of a pet project of mine, and I'm hoping that it's going to be as rewarding down the future for other people as it's been for me to work on it, and gratifying as it's been for you, I'm sure. You have any other comments you'd like to make before we wrap it up?
Other than this is an exciting time to be here as a citizen in Oklahoma, and Ward 4 especially. And I think if the citizens would just hold up and wait, they're going to be so pleased with what is in store for us.
Right, I think so. Rick?
These are exciting times. I honestly believe that for the citizens of Oklahoma City and our neighbors, we have gone a long way in taking care of parks and recreation and fishing, offering fishing opportunities for you. So come out and have fun, and you'll enjoy it.
Right. Well, I very much appreciate all your hard work. That wraps it up for this session. I've enjoyed again having you here as my guest today, and we'll do it again.
Okay.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.